Backlash this Sunday from the WWE Performance Center, along with the greatest wrestling match ever going to take place. Don't even get me started on that tagline. I think a lot of people are going to be talking about that in the next 7 days or so. We also have a WWE Championship match. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre faces Bobby Lashley with his new business manager, MVP, in his corner. Now, we'll do a full match preview and predictions later on in the week, but we want to focus on a bit of a surprising story or a surprising turn to come out of this. And that's potentially, and I say potentially because you have to take these things with a pinch of salt, don't you? But potentially, Bobby Lashley winning the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre at Backlash on Sunday. Now, I don't know any spoilers or anything like that. Backlash has actually already been taped. It was taped prior to NXT TakeOver in Your House last night. So whatever's happened has happened. I'm sure possibly they did this for WrestleMania by all accounts, and they may have done it here, that we may have multiple finishes being taped, so we don't really know the outcome of it. But it was speculated that possibly Bobby Lashley could be winning the WWE Championship. Now, before we get right into it, I suppose we have to backtrack slightly and look at MVP's influence in all of this. Now, MVP is no longer a producer. It's reported that he is exclusively an on-screen talent. When the whole Wednesday came and all the superstars were released from WWE, there were lots of agents released as well, and producers were furloughed. So that's possibly why we've seen more of MVP. Now, MVP returned at the Royal Rumble earlier this year in January of 2020. Surprise entry in the Royal Rumble, faced off against Brock Lesnar for a bit. Brock Lesnar eliminated him. And then the following night on Raw, he had another match, this time against Rey Mysterio. And he said at the time that was his retirement match. He was done as an in-ring competitor. He'd gone out the way he wanted to go out in WWE against one of his son's favourite wrestlers in Rey Mysterio. It was then subsequently announced that MVP had been hired by WWE to be a producer behind the screens and an occasional on-screen talent, whereby he would occasionally do segments like the VIP lounges or something of that effect. He did a VIP lounge with Drew McIntyre in late January, maybe early February, something like that. He was also part of the segment when Edge returned to Raw after Randy Orton's attack. Edge hit the spear on him, etc., etc. So he was mainly a producer, but he was an occasional on-screen talent, which is great because MVP on the mic is fantastic, and as a character, he really does add a lot to Monday Night Raw. However, things change, and MVP was turned into a full-time on-screen talent, wrestling more often. Still the occasional wrestler, wasn't a full-time wrestler, but an occasional wrestler, and more of a manager or just an on-screen presence. And like I said, things change, plans change. Now, it was reported that the reason to do with MVP becoming a full-time on-screen talent obviously had to do slightly with the pandemic and the producer role being limited. But another reason was that Paul Heyman, the executive director of Monday Night Raw, wanted MVP to be a mouthpiece for a world champion, specifically that being Bobby Lashley. So, it has therefore been speculated that Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, could indeed be ending Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship reign at Backlash and becoming WWE Champion. Now, they've told the story here that Bobby Lashley hasn't got a WWE Championship match or shot for 13 years. You know, and Bobby Lashley coming into WWE did great in Impact Wrestling, a couple of matches on the independent scene, a couple of fights in Bellator. He's still undefeated, I believe, in Bellator and in MMA. And you know, he came in with a lot of momentum and a lot of buzz when he returned to WWE in 2018. He had the match against Roman Reigns, I believe. When was that? Extreme Rules 2018, around that period of time, and he had momentum there, but he lost to Roman Reigns, and then things just went downhill in this latest WWE run. You had Sami Zayn feud and the Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley Three Sisters storyline. The less said about that, the better. And then just any momentum after that just slowly died. He had the partnership with Lio Rush, turned heel, and the partnership with Lio Rush was good. It was entertainment. I thought Lio Rush did a great job there. I think Lio Rush is extremely talented, regardless of your opinion on him. I think he's extremely talented. But you knew things were bad for Lashley when the main part of that Lio Rush partnership was that Bobby Lashley was posing and flexing his glutes. It says a lot about Vince McMahon humour there, doesn't it? And then he moved on to being with Constable Corbin, when Corbin was like the acting general manager of Raw, and Drew McIntyre was a part of that as well. And then he took some time off. He comes back as part of the Lana and Rusev story. The less said about that, the better. That's just kind of been a recurring theme, hasn't it, with Bobby Lashley in this WWE run, his latest WWE run. The less said about it, the better. Some of these creative storylines are just wow. I mean, Bobby Lashley at one point, didn't he hold all the bouts in Impact Wrestling? And I'm not to say, Impact Wrestling world champion immediately should be world champion in WWE. Of course not. It's different. It's different levels there. But Lashley, his look is he's unique. Yes, he's not the best on the mic, but there's certainly something there. And you go back to Bobby Lashley's first run in WWE, they knew that something was there. They pushed this guy to the moon. He was ECW champion, US champion, didn't do a lot of jobs. WrestleMania 23, Battle of the Billionaires, Umaga versus Lashley, shaves Vince McMahon's head, has the feud with the McMahon family afterwards. So they've always had big plans for him. If anything, it was surprising when he got released by WWE back in 2007. So it looks to me, coming out with these stories, that Heyman could be looking to salvage what is at the moment been a really botched run here for Bobby Lashley in WWE. But then that has to raise the questions, McIntyre losing the WWE Championship? He's been champion for 2-3 months? He won the title at WrestleMania in April. We're now in June, so 3 months. And I think Drew McIntyre has done really well. That's not just a biased British view. I think he's done really, really well as the babyface WWE champion. It's just really, really unfortunate that his first WWE Championship run in general, but his first big babyface WWE title run comes during a pandemic with no crowd or no audience. We're just getting a slight audience back now with the Performance Center recruits on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So he's got a bit of a crowd reaction there. But prior to this, whenever Raw was in the sold-out arenas, when it was in arenas, he was getting really over with the live crowd. You just have to look, for examples for this, look at the pop he got for winning the Royal Rumble. Look at the pop he got for eliminating Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And Brock Lesnar knew. Brock Lesnar made him look like $1 million because Brock knows. When Brock Lesnar wants to put you over and he wants to make you look like a star, you know that you're legit. And that's the case with Drew McIntyre there. I mean, say what you want about Brock Lesnar, but he is one of the smartest guys in the business, without a shadow of a doubt. Along with Paul Heyman, just look at the deal Brock Lesnar has repeatedly got in WWE. This is not a dumb man. So I think it will be very, very premature for Drew McIntyre to lose the WWE Championship at Backlash, but I guess Paul Heyman's not afraid to shock people. I just don't think it's right. I think Drew McIntyre is the guy. I think he's the next John Cena. I think he's the next main face, whoever you want to compare him to. That is, of course, if WWE is still following that model of having one major guy, the ultimate superhero babyface, the one person. Maybe in 2020 that doesn't work anymore. We've criticised it prior to this when they've tried it with Roman Reigns, when they tried it with Cena, even though it did work with Cena. I don't care what people say. It did work. Look at the star he is now. Maybe WWE have changed course and they're not just going to have one guy be the ultimate face of WWE anymore. Maybe not. And don't get me wrong. I'm glad that they're doing something with Bobby Lashley because you just have to look at him. He's an absolute stud. And he's 43 years old. People don't realise this. He's 43 years old. He's actually 44 years old in July. So next month, he's 44 years old. So on that side of things, if you're going to put the title on him, it's probably now, let's be honest. It's now or never because 44 years old, how many years does he have left in WWE, really? I mean, I know he looks great, but 44, maybe 3 years at most. So you would have to say, look, if you're going to build him up, now's the time. I'm not sure what you get in return of that investment. If you get a bit of like a Brock Lesnar scenario where if you build Bobby Lashley up for a year and have someone come over and topple him, then you make them a bigger star. But look, Drew McIntyre just did that with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has been built up for years and years and years as the unstoppable beast. He doesn't do jobs. And Drew McIntyre beat him at WrestleMania and he defeated him at the Royal Rumble. And they've already done that story with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar. And let's be honest, Bobby Lashley isn't a bigger star as Brock Lesnar. Nothing against Lashley, but that's just the case. So to repeat that storyline again with Drew McIntyre, but this time with Bobby Lashley, makes no sense to me. I like to see that they're doing something with Bobby Lashley. Like I said, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have Bobby Lashley on SmackDown. Have him as the Universal Champion at the moment. I like Braun Strowman. I like that they're getting back to what Braun Strowman was on SmackDown, tipping over cars, etc., etc. But I still don't buy him as Universal Champion. It's just too late for me. But Bobby Lashley, you want to have him as that big heel champion on SmackDown? I'd be game for that. But that's just not going to happen. Bobby Lashley's on Raw. So Drew McIntyre, in my opinion, as WWE champion, just needs to win, and keep winning and keep winning. And against Bobby Lashley at Backlash, it should be no different. And this is maybe a bit of a controversial statement, so I was hesitant about discussing it. But with everything that's going on in society at the moment, maybe WWE looking to capitalize on that. Maybe they're looking to put the WWE Championship on an African American superstar with an African American manager. I don't know. I'm speculating there. But they've capitalized on hot topics in society before. I wouldn't put it past WWE, but I just don't think. I don't think WWE will approach that, because let's be honest, when they put out their statement about the racism statement on social media a couple of days ago, they got a lot of backlash. One, for how long it took them to put out that statement, and two, you look at WWE's history, it's incredibly checkered at best. You think of they've recently reinstated Hulk Hogan into the Hall of Fame. You think about Donald Trump is in the Hall of Fame too. You look at Linda McMahon praising Donald Trump on Twitter recently. It's a subject I really, it's a spotty record from them at best. And you look at some of their segments and storylines in the past as well. It's a bit of an eye-opening look there. But maybe they'll look to capitalize on that. Who knows? But I just don't think that Drew McIntyre, easy for me to say, should be losing the WWE Championship anytime soon. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I said, I really feel for him, because he had so much momentum after the Royal Rumble, and in his few segments he had with Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar made him look like $1 million, without a shadow of a doubt. So I really hope that McIntyre retains. Like I said, I'm happy that they're doing stuff with Bobby Lashley, but McIntyre here needs to retain, and I still think he will. It just doesn't make any sense for me to have McIntyre lose. I don't understand it. I wouldn't understand that if that were the case, unless it was a Stone Cold Kane situation from 1998 where Kane held the title for one night. Next night on Raw, Drew McIntyre wins the title back. I can almost see them doing something like that at the moment, because Raw is so desperate for ratings. The last 2 weeks, Raw's been getting, or the last 2 or 3 weeks now, Raw's been hitting 1.7 million viewers on average, live viewers, of course. DVR is probably slightly higher than that, so they're probably getting just over 2 million. But bear in mind, Monday Night Raw in the 1999, this is your live segment, 10 million viewers, over 10 million viewers. Now they can't even get 1.7 million live viewers in average for the show. I mean, it's staggering. It is staggering, isn't it? So maybe that's what they might look for that. They might look for Lashley to win, controversially, at Backlash, and then you have Drew McIntyre come back and win it the following night on Raw. Pop a rating. They need it. Monday Night Raw needs to make news, because it doesn't make news anymore. No one cares about watching it. I struggle to watch it, and I do it for news coverage, but I struggle to watch it. It's a 3-hour show. A 3-hour show is difficult to watch anyway, let alone when it had no fans in the arena. Even now with the Performance Center recruits, it's easier to watch, but it's still not easy. It's still not easy sometimes. So maybe that's what they want to look to do that for. Maybe there's lots of different ways to look at it, but I don't think Bobby Lashley should have a long run with the title. I think he should be used as to further McIntyre getting over. Of course, they could do a finish where it's a bit of a screw job finish, maybe, and I don't know. There's lots of ways to do it, but I like I said, I think Drew McIntyre should be retaining the WWE Championship there. But what do you think? Do you think that Bobby Lashley could potentially win the WWE Championship this Sunday at Backlash, or do you think Drew McIntyre will retain? Do you think they could do a Kane, Stone Cold, Steve Austin sort of thing in '98? Have Lashley win the title one night, have McIntyre win it the next night? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few more seconds, there'll be another button for you to click there, along with another video for you to watch. Or you can just go to our channel, Wrestle News 365 on YouTube, see all the videos we've uploaded, and subscribe to us there. Be sure to follow us on social media as well. They're all on the screen right now, or in the comment section below, at Wrestle News 365 on Facebook and Instagram, and at 365 Wrestle on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you've come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.